that when they whip the spike out to stab you with it?
Good afternoon, everyone. We need to start our meeting of the Public Prairie Municipal Authority. It is 6:34. I'm calling a meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Stroller.
Here.
Dow.
Here.
Moxley. Here. Marshall.
Here.
Norman. Here. Nation. Wade.
Here.
Warner. Here. Johnson.
Here. Do we have a guest minister?
Clydeen.
Clydeen? There she is. Oh, Clydeen, would you offer a prayer for us, please?
Sure.
It's a privilege and an honor to get to come before you and offer up prayer for you. So if you would just join with me as we ask God to bless this meeting for you. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening and we thank you for our mayor, for our city manager, and for each and every council member and city leader that you have present here tonight, which you alone have placed in authority over us. Lord, your word in Psalms 127 tells us that unless you build a house, it is built in vain. And if you do not watch over the city, in vain does the watchman keep a vigil. So, Lord God, we acknowledge that we must have your wisdom and your understanding in order to govern our great city rightly. Therefore, we invite you to guide, lead, and direct us as we come together tonight to address the needs and concerns of our city which are before us. May you empower each of us to deliberate without contention or partisanship, but in love and order, seeking and acting in accordance with your will, that the common good of all who dwell in our wonderful city may be accomplished. Help us, Heavenly Father, to plan well, to execute diligently, and to bring to fruition the hopes and the dreams which you have placed within our hearts for the blessed, prosperous, and secure future of Perry, Oklahoma. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do declare a quorum. Do you have a roll call?
Oh, we did roll call.
Okay. All right, but I'm declaring quorum. You have your invocation. Consent agenda is the next item, folks. And all there is on it is...
Motion to approve.
Second. Thank you. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Stroller.
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Wade.
Aye.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes. At this time, anything having to do with the authority, comments about the authority or for the authority can be made by the public. Anyone with comments for the PMA? Comments for the PMA? Seeing none. Next item, please. Item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, inquiries by the governing body. Anyone on council or city staff have any comments they need to make concerning tonight on PMA? Seeing none. Next item, business, is the city manager wants to authorize the city manager to execute and submit the federal assistance grant agreement on airport improvement program, project 34000770111-2014. This is a reoccurring item. That is, we need to update what we're going to plan to do at the airport. If you don't have a plan, then any submissions you have for assistance in project airports will not go through because you don't have an airport plan. And this will update that airport plan, and our share of that cost is $8,530. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Stroller.
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Norman. Wade.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes. New business. Anyone need to bring new business before the PMA? Seeing none, item
Move to
8.
adjourn. Second.
Roll call, please.
Stroller.
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Norman. Wade.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Prairie Council. Roll call, please.
Stroller.
Here.
Dow.
Here.
Moxley.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Norman. Nation.
Here. Oh, wait.
Not Nation. Wade.
Him too.
Here. Johnson.
Here.
He's not here.
Trying to get 2 votes.
We have 4 items on our consent agenda, folks. Are there any of those that you wish to have removed for discussion?
I'd like to take out C.
C?
Motion to approve the consent agenda minus C.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Now, item C, Betty.
Okay, this was for the planning commission, and they met, and they were approved to put in gravel, and I thought we decided we weren't gonna approve that.
They will recommend that, but we don't have to approve it when it comes before us.
Are they gonna come before us with
It
that?
has to, doesn't it?
It's not an administrative review.
What is
We're talking about Subway.
it?
It was handled through the administrative review process that's provided for in our code.
And they gave them
Well, I don't know that it was definite. David, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that it was definite that they were gonna actually do gravel. It sounded like they were leaning towards concrete.
Their request was for gravel as per our newly adopted gravel code, and that was approved. However, they said that they, considering cost, may very well go ahead with concrete. So we approved either and told them that we favored concrete, but our code allows for gravel. In that situation, it's overflow parking.
I was thinking that when we talked about it, because we agreed to put gravel in behind Walmart, but we said we weren't gonna allow it anyplace else.
Is for overflow parking, as I recall the wording of it.
I remember we said.
I don't completely remember this, but I tend to side with Betty. I think that came forth whenever
Harry Hughes
we
came
had
in, yeah.
originally addressed that situation when they were wanting to put added parking in, and I thought we told them, it was when they wanted truck traffic in there or something.
At that time, when they made the request the first time, we did not have an ordinance that allowed gravel. Then later, a gravel ordinance was written and approved, and now they've come back and asked to use that on their overflow parking.
But we only did that, that was a special ordinance just for that one property. We did not make that for everything. Do you remember, Brian?
Yes, it's actually an amendment to our regulations on hard paved surface. Now, I did not attend the planning commission, and I have not looked at the application, but the city council did approve alternative paving systems. I think that's what we called them. I don't want to say that it was necessarily as simple as gravel, but there were alternative paving systems. Many of them required concrete borders and concrete aprons if you're coming off the road and that. And that is what the regulation is. Now, if the improvement is consistent with that regulation, then it's authorized. Now, with respect to the site plan, normally site plans are preceded by 10 days notice, and it's posted notice. And then the planning commission meets to approve that site plan, and that did in fact happen with respect to Subway, the original application. The site plan ordinance goes on to say that you can have an administrative site plan review for I think the words are, if there's a supplementary or there's an additional amendment to that site plan that's required. There's still a notice, I believe it's a 5-day notice that needs to be posted. And the folks that attend that are like the administrative officer, the head of the planning commission, and the chairman of the planning commission, and the city manager. Is that correct?
Actually, it was building official.
Yeah, the building official, the
Yeah.
right, as the administrative
Well, and see,
zoning.
that
And
brings
then
up.
Zoning officer.
the zoning officer, and then they meet and they meet, and their decision, that stands unless there's an appeal. If there's an appeal, then that comes to the city council. Otherwise, and the other thing is, it has to be included in the minutes of the planning commission. But if it's an administrative site plan, okay, it doesn't come automatically up to the planning commission for approval, nor does it come to the city council for approval. But whatever is put there has to be consistent with that ordinance that was approved in alternative paving systems. I mean, you can't vary the terms of that ordinance.
Well, my problem with this is if the city planning commission is not gonna vote on it, and it doesn't come before the city council to vote on, why do we even have a planning commission? I mean, why don't we just let if they're not gonna vote on it?
Well, then your position would be that you are opposed to an administrative site plan amendment procedure.
Yes.
And you believe that all site plans and amendments to site plans should be put through the entire process. That's not what the current rules are, but if that's what the council would want, that would require an amendment, and but that's not currently what the rules are.
And one of the reasons why is we're already in a mess because of some people making agreements to do things that later on down the road, I can't talk about it, but cause some of the problems with our utilities, our water and things like that, some of our water lines and things. And it was never brought up before the city council. And I think that everything should come up before the city council, at least the planning commission ought to vote on it.
Was that not that amendment we made for alternative paving methods? Was that not a use by review? I mean, I guess what I'm wanting to say is that we would look at each situation rather than just say, this is what we can do?
Well, as I remember it, we,
Truthfully, I'm going to have to go back and look at it again. As I remember, it was an alternative to a permanent.
Oh, I agree with you, but I thought it was like a use by review, that we would review where each situation set.
Well, I
and
think
how it
that's
affected.
well. I think that's correct, because in most instances there would be a site plan that would then come up to the city council. This one probably, in thinking about it, because we use the administrative site plan review, it did not involve a review by the full body of the planning commission and the city council. You may be right.
I mean, I'm not trying to cause trouble. I'm just trying to remember. I thought that's for future purposes. I was thinking.
well, as I remember it, we had just made a variance because the property that we allowed that on was gonna be back behind where nobody was gonna see it. It was not on a main drive, it was not,
Is that gravel parking behind where they now have the toilets stored?
yeah.
Behind the fence.
Yeah.
They
And
wanted
it's
parking
fenced
for
in,
trucks, and then they didn't use it.
Yeah, it's a site, now they got a site-proof fence up.
And I thought it was a one-time deal.
No, it was a change. It was a change to the regulations, but
I remember it being a change, but I thought it was each situation would be reviewed.
and it was subject to the site plan review. I mean, I remember that now, but of course, I suppose what we didn't think through when we did that is the administrative site plan review. With that, you have the ability to to make a decision without the involvement of the full planning commission and the involvement of the city council. Now, of course, the reason for that is that in most instances, it's a small amendment to a site plan that has already been, approved. And it's in an effort to, not hold back development.
Streamline things.
Yeah, to streamline development. I mean, the reasons for it are good, but if you don't like that, then you need to sponsor an amendment if you want
I
all
would like
parts
to have it come
of
up for a vote for either the planning commission or city council. I don't want making changes without us knowing about it, I guess.
David, will there be concrete, if they chose to go gravel, would it be concrete apron off of the asphalt and then it would
Yes.
turn to gravel?
You'll recall that in that ordinance that was written and approved by council, there's, I believe it says 12 feet or to the property line, whichever is greater. And that ordinance was used on the storage buildings that were recently, or being built on just between 6th and 7th Street. We did the concrete apron there, and that was reviewed and approved by everyone. So this is not the first time we've used our new
Yeah.
gravel code. And some of the examples that were given during the writing of that were things like truck stops where you have the normal required parking, they've met the required parking area, but then they want something larger than that, maybe overnight parking for trucks or maneuvering room or whatever that's above and beyond what's required. And that ordinance also applies to situations like that. In the case of the sandwich shop, they've met their minimum requirement with the concrete. It meets all those specs. They had come to us almost a year ago, wanting to pave the rest of this lot, and we asked for an engineered design with some real numbers put to it, looking at where the water is going to go. And that wasn't able to happen soon enough. They're just now getting that back. So we have a very well engineered plan, looks like. The engineer worked with our code to do all his specs. And Jason has reviewed the code versus the plan, and we've looked at it administratively, and everything looks okay. The main concern there was where was the water going to go, and they've got it designed now so the water goes the correct way. And so we just gave them the plans right out of our book, and that's what they designed it to.
Is this gonna look like Umstead's, what he did, coming off the street where it's concrete?
It's supposed to, yes.
Because I mean, that looks very nice.
Same code.
Yeah, that looks
It's
very
like,
nice.
it has a mat under the gravel, and
Yeah, it's not gravel right up to where there'd be what? 9th Street right there. It's not gravel, you're gonna have concrete back so far.
the code requires, I think it's 12 feet. Jason, help me on that.
I think that's correct.
It's either 12 feet or to the property line, whichever is greater. And
We did this
Like
particularly for
Umstead's, they did a nice
Olmsted
job.
development up there, and
You sent that to us.
I just remembered us denying them to put rock there before.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Because at that time, we didn't have any provision for it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that people just didn't want it either.
But then you've approved that since then, approved the
It was The
code.
drainage was the biggest concern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're gonna have to do some dirt work to provide the correct drainage.
I don't have a problem with the administrative site plan review theory, but in this case, that's usually set aside for amendments to a site plan that's already been approved, correct? What site plan are they amending to go through this process? The original site plan?
The original site plan,
So the one they did a long time ago?
yeah.
Okay, so you can amend a site plan whenever? There's no limitation? Okay.
Now, we of course can choose as to whether or not it should be done administratively or not. I mean, if it's a significant departure, I mean, an addition, a major addition to the building, we could require, to be put through the full site plan procedure. This one involved parking, and they felt since it met the term of the code that it fit within the administrative sector, and quite frankly, under the code, it did. I mean, it did. Now, whether you want that in the future, or whether you like that, or whether you think that those ought to still come up, and be reviewed, currently it only does on appeal.
on appeal, if somebody
But
appeals.
sometimes when they appeal it, it's too late. They've already got the concrete down or something already down, or they've built the buildings and.
Well, the appeal has to happen within a certain time period.
Yeah, it's a very short.
We're putting down concrete where they said they
3
weren't gonna put
days,
down
I
concrete.
think.
Yeah, or they're building a building where they didn't say they were gonna put. Yeah.
They'll still, Subway will have to apply for a permit, though, before they start the project.
I don't have any particular problem with the rock. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's just, I was trying to understand what site plan they were amending, and if it was the original.
I just
one,
feel
that's
like
all.
if they're just gonna not go through the planning commission, why do we have a planning commission?
Well, it went through the planning commission, they approved site plan. And
No.
now they
no.
come back for a special hearing because they were denied the gravel
They
pavement.
did it at the planning commission, well, why wouldn't you just go through the planning commission and vote on it?
Because it is for appeals of decisions made for their plan by the planning commission. There's an appeal process.
I make a motion we approve C.
Second.
That's just that's the way we're set up right now. If we want to change it, then we got to work to change it. Yes.
Stroller?
Yep.
Dow?
Yes.
Moxley?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Norman?
Yes.
Wade?
Yes.
Warner?
No.
Johnson?
Yes.
You're on the record.
She loves it too. But Betty, truth, if we think there's an issue with this process, then we've got to work to make it more
Well,
representative of what we want.
And
Well, and
something along with this, and it's completely different, but we have fines for people that, like, go through the planning commission and then they go ahead and start it without being approved, like we've had it before. And I think our fines are too small for that. I mean, just to pay a $200 fine for putting up a big garage in your backyard, I mean, why wouldn't you pay that, you know? It's already built, and what can you do about it? I think maybe our fines need to be raised. What are our fines for that?
A violation would be $2.99.
See, if I want to build a garage, I'd pay that.
We spend $25,000 on a garage anyway.
Yeah.
I really don't see that this process or procedure will be abused, because it's really up to the planning commission chairman and our planning advisor.
Well, the only reason I brought that up was because I was driving through town and I saw a new garage sitting there, and I wondered if they got a permit to build that there, you know? What do we do if they build something there?
I can't. We have a code enforcement officer that gets over there and gets in their face.
Well, I hope that if you see something that you have a question about, that you give us a shout
Well,
and ask.
it's a little
Because,
late.
well, it's not really.
No, they can be required to tear it down.
I mean, and they may well have
I've known of that happening.
Yes.
and they may well have a permit.
And we've got these little carports popping up all over town. And he's staying on those as fast as he can, but they're still, they can put them up in a few hours, so.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen 3 or 4 new ones that go, crap, where are all these coming from?
Leaves town for vacation. It's out of control.
People worry about a hail damage on their car, so they throw one of them up because they got the garage door. Okay. All right, let's go to the next item, please. Comments from those assembled concerning council. Comments from those assembled. Seeing none. Item 5, proclamation, commendation, reports, inquiries by the governing body. Any comments we need to make? None? Proclamation, commendation. Next item, city manager comments.
I just have a few. A representative of ODOT's rail division program is offered to make a presentation to the city council about their corridor program, and essentially what that is if there's a crossing that the city, after a lengthy process and procedure, determines that we're willing to close, then there's funding available for to improve like 2 or 3 other crossings. And so, since they offered to make the presentation, I took them up on the offer, and they plan to be here at the next council meeting on the 16th. So they can explain a little bit more in detail how that corridor program works and what the process is involved and all of that, so. Also wanted to report that 3S Leasing executed the amendment to the agreement that this council approved at the last meeting, and so we've got it fully executed, the mayor is now signed, and we'll be setting a closing date with 3S Leasing. And finally, the next City of Perry blood drive is scheduled for Thursday, June 12th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The mobile unit will be set up across from City Hall, and it's even though it says City of Perry, it's open to any and everyone who wants to donate. And I'm hearing, or I saw the really cool T-shirt that they're going to give to everybody who comes in and tries to donate, even if you aren't able to. And you also get 2 admission tickets to the Oklahoma City Zoo.
Hey.
So come in on Thursday, June 12th, 11 to 3, and donate. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Gonna be at City Hall.
Across from City Hall.
All right. Any questions for our city manager? Item 8, consider approval, consider appointment to the Board of Adjustment. As y'all know, Nikki Leach is now a judge and cannot serve on this board any longer, and there is some of his term left. So I have contacted a candidate, asked her to serve, and she has agreed to. That is Vicki Byer. She is an attorney here locally, and this seat 2 of this board requires the person to be either a CPA or an attorney. So I'm asking you to consider the appointment and confirm Vicki Byer to the Board of Adjustment.
I make the motion we confirm her to the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Wade. Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Vicki, would you stand up so everybody who may not know you? This is Vicki Byer. Thank you very much for the 2 weeks you got me.
Congratulations, get to work.
You may only have one the rest of your life. Item 8, we'll go back to it now. Consider approval for Gary May and Tom Davis to conduct fireworks display at Perry Lake on July 4th, 2014. This is an annual thing. I can't remember since I've lived here that it hasn't happened. So the recommendation is to authorize Mr. May and Mr. Davis to conduct the 2014 4th of July fireworks display. With our thanks, by the way.
I'll make a motion to authorize.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Stroller.
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you, Gary. Item 9, receive a recommendation from the Perry Planning Commission concerning site plan of Perry Municipal Hospital Authority to place a medical office building on lots 6 and 7 of Block 75, North and West Perry, Noble County, State of Oklahoma, takes action on that site plan. What this is doing is the hospital has hired an architect, and they are planning to build a new medical clinic. It'll be on the sites where the parking lots and the highway patrol facility are, or the old drugstore facility.
So is that facility coming down?
Yes, it is. They will be building a new building there, but in the meantime, we need a clinic for 2 new doctors and a PA that are going to be needing a place to work here in the next month. So across the street on the south side of Helm and east of the hospital, the hospital owns 4 lots there. They're going to put a temporary structure there to house those 3 individuals and start their practices and build a parking lot. The site plan has been reviewed by the Planning Commission. They have made their, Mr. McClarty, and they have made their comments to that site plan. The architect and engineers are making those revisions having to do with detention of storm runoff from the historical flow to the developed flow, and containing that and releasing it slowly so it does not add to the flooding going on down the street where the skate park is at Cedar in that area. We have a flooding issue there, as many of you know. So we're working in advance of us having any ordinances requiring them to just help eliminate that problem. So the recommendation is to receive the recommendation and take action on the site plan for the hospital temporary structures.
Was there any protest from the neighbors? No? So, what is the plan for the hospital to do after, with this area, after they build a new building across the street?
Extend the parking lot.
So
It's gonna be-
they'll take the building out, it'll just be a parking lot?
they're putting in a concrete parking lot now.
Mm-hmm.
When we move the building out, we'll extend that parking lot. We're just finishing up a plan by the consultant that shows the growth and potential growth of the hospital where it wants to go. And it will need a parking area here because the surgery area needs to be expanded. It's kind of out of date, it needs to grow in size and stuff like that. So it's going to eliminate some parking. And our plan is to eliminate all the parking along 14th Street from backing out into the street parking. And so we need to add parking there, and we need to improve the parking where the new clinic building would be, and improve the parking around the hospital we have now. But we're trying to eliminate that parking where you just put back into traffic.
Well, the attachment that I saw from Jason was that they were going to add parking on 14th Street for now. Is that correct?
That was one of the solutions that they had come up with for at first they didn't have enough parking that was required by our ordinances. The first solution was to potentially add parking spaces along 14th. But I think the mayor is saying that once the temporary buildings are gone, they're going to do away with the parking on 14th.
So, but for now, they're going to add a few spaces because their site plan, it said that the spaces weren't to spec.
Correct.
The new site plan they're bringing has all adequate parking and handicap parking.
So we've seen the new site plan with all of the recommendations included in it?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we're gonna be approving the site plan with the promise that they're gonna do that?
That's what the planning commission approved with the recommendations from Jason and planning commission. The reason we're doing this is that we've got 2 doctors going to be here by the 1st of August, and they need a clinic. So we're having these 4 modular structures brought in, put together, set up, and going to pave parking lot and provide drainage and everything from there.
What happens if the new site plan doesn't include these changes, Bryce? What's the process then?
They would not be issued a
Speechless?
building permit.
He's speechless?
They would not be issued a building permit, I believe.
That's correct.
That's
That's correct.
Can't build.
So they'll have to show us the site plan with the stuff in it before they get the permit.
They have to go to Jim.
Planning commission, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, well, yeah.
Well, there were three items that Jason brought up at the planning commission. And so it was basically, the site plan was recommended for approval with those 3 provisions being addressed.
Yeah, I just found out what those.
I'm good with that, as long as there's some mechanism. in
Yeah,
place to
I'm
keep
good
it.
with that. I just want to know that was going to be covered for sure. You know.
I move to approve the planning commission recommendation.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Good discussion.
Stroller?
Yes.
Dow?
Yes.
Moxley?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Norman?
Yes.
Wade?
Yes.
Warner?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes. Bill, that is in your notes, those items that he asked about, and they will be.
Who asked about?
Jason.
The three conditions.
I know, that's where I was reading from.
Okay. All right, item 10. You make me nervous. Let me tell you, serving on that board, then serving on this one, you can get crosswired quickly if you don't like that. Under item 10, we are going to conduct a public hearing in relation to our 2014-2015 budget. The budget has been handed out to you. The only revisions that have come through previous talk are in there, color-coded.
I can go through those.
Yeah, but those are ones that changed since you saw it last, and Mary's gonna go over them, or maybe. But anyway, this budget is open for public comment from any citizens who are here who wish to make comments this time. But if any citizen has any questions first. No one, council, Mary?
You want me to go over it now or wait until the next item? Can we get
Yes,
into
the next
more?
item.
So no, okay.
Public hearing then is, there's nothing to do, no one here to speak. All right, next item 10, discussion of the draft of 2014-2015 budget. It's continued from our May 19th meeting. Go ahead, Mary.
On page 9, draw your attention to that. And this is, I'm just offering these up for discussion. And if the council prefers to go a different direction, I won't take it personal. But it's really to kind of get the conversation and get the discussion going in regards to some of the things that have been requested by the different departments. On page 9, under the street department, obviously the amount to rebuild Eagle Lane all the way from north to south, and then the Fairway Drive overlay was pretty significant dollars. And as a way of at least getting a start on that project would be to include $30,000 for engineering to develop plans and specifications, get a little better handle on the cost, and maybe kind of phase it a little bit, I would say. So that was my thought on the, as far as the Eagle Lane rebuild. On Fairway, the estimated amount was $45,000, and I've gone ahead and moved that over into the funded column. On the left is what I call funded, and the one on the right is optional, which is a nice word for unfunded. Anyway, also I looked at a couple of other street projects that if we're going to do Fairway and overlay, there were a couple other projects in there that I thought we could go ahead and maybe include, and one was the south boundary 11th to 12th overlay. And the other one was 8th Street from Elm to Fir overlay. And so those are two projects that seem to be within our financial capabilities to go ahead and do this year. We did mention the street sweeper. We purchased a used one this year, so that project is no longer needed, or that equipment purchase is no longer needed. And also the crane, the very last one on the street department, the crane for the mechanic's truck. When Sam said that was his first priority, I thought, well, maybe I better pay attention to Sam and include that. I'm just being facetious, but anyway, he obviously thought it was an important item, and it's for safety reasons. I believe it should be included in our funding. Then okay, nothing else in the general fund.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
On that crane,
It mounts on a truck,
do we have that truck?
yes.
Okay. I mean, because I know he was wanting a couple trucks too, he was
Right.
talking about, so
Right.
I didn't know if he had something he could put that on.
Yeah, he does have, he
Okay.
does. All right, that's my understanding.
Okay.
go to the next page.
17.
17. After Steve Reddy's presentation to the council at the last meeting, went back and reworked some of the items that were on his list. The backup generator, worst case scenario, he had estimated 200,000, but that's a number that he didn't really know what it would be until we had some engineering take a look at what the requirements are going to be. And so gone ahead and included 50,000 for some engineering design, determining what the capacity for the generators need to be, and then determine whether or not we can go ahead and complete that project within the 50,000, or if we're going to need to supplement that with some additional funds. But until we have a design, it's hard to know that. And I didn't really want to include the whole 200 and tie that money up for that it couldn't be used for other items, although there are plenty of other needs. And also the GPS, we have located, we have done on the sewer side, we have all the manholes GPS, but on the water side, we don't have the valves, and so I think it's important to continue to improve our drawings to reflect, what our system includes. Then on the sewer department, I moved the lift station improvements over to the column on the right. That wasn't as big a priority, and so as I understood it, the truck was the bigger priority, and so that I moved over to the funded side. And I do agree that the vehicle is a definite need. And that's really the only thing that I changed on there, those two items. Then on the airport authority, yes, on page 20, we added for the grant application that we approved earlier on the meeting, we added the local match of $8,530 to the airport budget. I think that's it. And like I say, I'm just to kind of kickstart the discussion, if that's, if the council decides that different priorities,
On P and you only had like 9,000, but that doesn't include salaries, right?
that's just the capital.
Capital.
Yeah, that's just the capital.
And what about the parks? Did we add anything to them? I couldn't find them in here. I'm not looking in the right place.
The parks, all of their capital outlay requests were funded, and we did not make any changes based upon to their operational budget. So their capital outlay is on page 10. It's fully funded. And then the parks department itself, as far as their operations, are on page 3.
3.
So their capital outlay requests were Century Park, the 4 steel doors, the benches, the vacuum, and the fence for the softball complex. $8,875, which is included as funded.
I might mention that there's still some additional room for adding other items to the budget. If that's I think Russ was feeling that maybe 250,000 would be kind of the goal, to keep it, within 250,000 to add to the budget. The changes that I've suggested are about 200,000. So there still is some opportunity for council input and change.
Where's the money coming from for the maintenance on the new ballpark? Where does it come out of?
Economic development.
But I was told we couldn't use it for the other parks, so why would we be using it on that park?
It's being funded through economic development, through the hotel tax.
Building it is,
Through the
but
hotel tax.
I meant the yearly maintenance. $43,000 a year that we have to maintain it. I mean, why can't we use some of that money for the other parks if we can use that money for that? Is what I'm asking.
If the council deemed that using money for parks constituted tourism development and was consistent with that question, then that money could be used for capital improvements and things in the parks. But, you know, it hasn't been, it hasn't in the past been, the council hasn't construed that ordinance for that purpose. The truth is that most of that money has gone back into that tourism development,
And
economic development that's located out there. The money comes from there, and it's been, for the most part, put back there. And also to the south, because we bought the South Commercial Park with that, so.
And the Main Street and the Chamber.
Oh, Main Street and Chamber funding also, but other than that, it's been retained and used, I would say, almost exclusively for tourism out there. But I'm not saying that a decision of the council in saying that tourism development was something else. Let's say that you wanted,
Well, like
use
if we
it.
wanted to spend some money on CC Park, we could from that, right?
And if it promoted a tourism development purpose, yes.
Okay.
If it promoted an aesthetic purpose, any of the purposes which are set out in that ordinance.
Because I know our parks need a lot of work. Okay.
We budget for a splash pad. We talked about a splash pad.
That's phase 2, right?
Well, it's unofficial. I mean, phase 2 is pretty unofficial, you know.
There is a, Bill, there is
Talking
a.
about
there is-
Lions Park, not out there.
Address Betty's question is a very important question. I think as a council, if we decide that aesthetically, historically, or economically, or tourism-wise, that money can be used on our existing parks and meet those criteria, then as a council, I think we can determine that and either vote it down or vote for it. And I know that CCC Lake got a great history, and there's a lot of need out there in a lot of ways. So the other parks, the Lions Park, the Leo Park, the Century Park, the West Lake Park, y'all know where it is? That's right there on the west side of the Armory. That used to be a lake. Anything like that, I say anything, but those purposes can be met. And I think we as a council and request an application to the city through the manager's office for funding for projects like that, and where they go through the Parks Department and whatever, then I think we can sit down and discuss it and either vote up or down and recommend that money be spent.
Well, and I think we've got a lot of needs like that we need to think about.
Good point. I believe we as a council, after we get our budget process finalized, need to sit down and discuss issues about how we want to fund in the future. And we may even have to take some things to a vote of the people. But I think we need to look at ourselves seriously as to how we fund in the future. And it takes a vote of us and a vote of the people to make those changes.
How much was the street tax?
1%. 1%.
1%.
And
Can we
it goes
set
off.
aside a portion of that for repairs and maintenance when we did that? Where's that money going? The repairs and maintenance?
We actually have a separate fund that houses that, the tax itself and the debt payments. So that's called our street.
Ended up getting spent.
Yes.
If the part that we intended to have set aside for maintenance ended up getting spent on streets.
Okay.
Some additional add-ons.
So it's gone.
One of them
Correct.
was the paving out to the existing ballpark. That road was improved. That was a big number, and part of it got spent there.
Just for your reference, the tax itself is expected to exceed the debt service by a little over $82,000 for this fiscal year, which could be used for maintenance and operations for the street.
That's good.
Projected.
Projected. Any other questions, comments concerning that item for discussion of the budget? Remember, we are going to sit down as small groups or individuals.
We're not. We've already done that with those who have requested it.
I didn't get my turn.
Your request one.
I get a turn every day.
For those that requested it, we have visited, but if there's others that would like to sit down and talk about the budget, we'd be more than happy to sit down and visit. But I guess I would ask for council input and direction, on the proposal, so that we can bring back to the next meeting when we're scheduled to adopt the budget, bring back the budget resolution with the numbers that you're going to want to see in the final adopted budget.
Anyone foresee any changes they would make in the budget, then we need to have those brought forward soon to the city. And for discussion.
Adopted tonight, he says.
We need to move forward with Eagle Lane as quick as we can. That's an embarrassment to drive across. And for those people, I mean, there's nice homes out there. And if we're gonna go through the engineering side of it, we need to find the funds and move forward with that as quick as we can.
The engineering and all the discovery had to be made there to do what to do with that?
Right.
Soil boring.
And we said we said that,
The construction couldn't start before spring of 2015.
right, and we had talked about that, so getting the engineering and that in this year's budget, I just think we need to follow that up with just making a commitment to them folks that, after the engineering process, that next year, we will get it in the budget to make sure that we know it's gonna be then, before you're gonna get contracts, the bids out there and get all that done, but, by spring of next year, we're moving forward with getting a new road put out there.
But you're comfortable with the amount that we have in the budget now to get the process started?
Yes, you gotta get the process
Okay.
started, I understand that, just
Okay.
finish the process is all I'm saying after this.
Any action needed by any members? Any motion? Any amendment?
Do we need a motion to approve this thing yet?
Not yet.
No, just to finalize it.
I'm just wondering what everybody's waiting for.
We'll bring back the final numbers with the changes that I've mentioned. You can still make changes at the next meeting before you adopt it, so, we're all good.
But my feelings will be hurt if you change it when Russ is here and not when
Oh.
I'm here.
Oh, we gotta do it then, just 'cause you said it.
Change something.
I'll find something.
One little something.
Now you challenged us.
Gummit!
We can do engineering on some other streets if we want to, or put another overlay in there, if anyone has a location that is important to them. Sidewalk? Drainage structure? Lawnmowers?
Splash pad.
Lawnmowers? Council, do you want to make any action tonight?
No.
No. New business? Any new business?
Mayor,
Yes.
I didn't have a chance to thank council for the approval, but I would like to note that we will be taking donations from our city businesses. After the last several years, our mayor has always donated the.
You're excused.
You're out of order.
Escort him out of here.
That's why he's running, he knows what's happening.
Thank you.
I'll go to the former mayor and see if he's got any money.
I'm gonna be feeling generous.
I'm on a fixed income, you know. Everything's fixed around here. Okay. Just before I ask for item 13, I do want to speak a little something. There was a group came in to City Hall wanting to see me, and they didn't look very hard because I was easy to find. But they are interested in doing a commercial splash pad. So probably be something, a piece of ground located around here to do that on. But they're all enthused and
I hope Kylie's front yard.
hey,
Gets the
man.
word out.
So that could be happening in the next, the next year. But anyway,
I'm sorry.
I'll.
Could you repeat that, Gordon? We
No, I
didn't
know,
hear
no,
it.
no. Here, a group came into City Hall wishing to talk to me about developing a splash pad that would be a commercial interest.
So that'd be an admission.
Yes,
A charge.
Well, no, we don't want that.
yes. Sales tax, man, what's the matter with you?
That'd be cool.
Look what the Slitter bomb started from.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that was just a thought, and we're gonna see if that actually happens. I'll be talking to them as soon as they can get in contact.
You might ask Brenda to talk to him also, because she's been talking about one for a long time.
Now we take a motion to convene into executive session to discuss negotiations on bargaining agreements with police and fire collective bargaining units.
So moved. Second.
And economic development, you still moving?
So moved.
All right.
Still second.
Stroller,
Yep.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Norman, Wade,
Yes.
Warner,
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yes.
I didn't count.
Well, we
They make
finished up the.
awesome pay
Reuben.
Chicken Caesar salad.
Oh, they do. Oh, the Reuben. Delicious.
I ran my phone out of batteries.
We need a motion.
Motion to reconvene.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley, Marshall.
Yes.
Norman, Wade, Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Is there any action needed as to our executive session, council?
None.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion second, roll call.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Norman,
Yes.
Wade, Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
I like it. Wow, she's quick on that one.
She got her down.